right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Sportsman. As always, we've got Mikey V up top to my left. We've got Joey D down below. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube and the Instagram. Throw your questions that way, and Mr. Anderson will field them and get them on over to us. Gentlemen, only one place to start this week. Ohio State, Michigan, week,
boy.
8 week, all the weeks. Mikey V, let's start with you.
Yeah, right back to where we were the last 2 years. Obviously, this was a close game. Ohio State had a chance to win it on the last drive. I'm going to be completely honest, and anybody who's followed my opinions before the game, after the game, my thoughts after the game, I'm going to be dead ass fucking honest with every Michigan fan. I'll look them in the eye. I don't think they're that good. I don't think they're that good. I think Ohio State was in the game the whole time. I thought Ryan Day was so out of character, unaggressive again. Not going for it on 4th and 1 from about midfield in the first half. Ohio State,
yeah, that was shocking.
They always go for it on 4th and short. Always go for it on 4th and short. In even worse field position. That was a bad decision. Egbuka dropping a first down pass on the first drive that would have kept that first drive going. I thought, listen, McCord throws the first interception that cost them. Michigan did not do anything that overly impressed me. Nothing. It's not like Karam ran all over us and we got dominated by the run game. It's not like McCord couldn't move the ball at all and didn't move the ball down the field at will when he had to, because he did. And that last play, the game-ending interception, Marvin Harrison is wide open on the route that he's trying to throw. That play is there. Unfortunately, he gets hit, and Michigan's D-line beats the Ohio State offensive line. Ohio State offensive line could not do enough, and that was my concern that I spoke about 2 weeks ago leading into this game. That was my main issue, was going to be their offensive line. Listen, hats off to Michigan for winning the game. I'm not taking away anything from them. All I'm saying is that I think if Ohio State and Michigan, these teams play that game 5 times this year, or 6 times, I think they split it 3-3, or I think Ohio State takes it 4-2. That's my honest assessment of this Michigan team and this Ohio State team. Ryan Day's inability to make this game put it on the level that it needs to be on and play loose and play freely and let these kids just let it rip is evident. It's evident. It's just his approach to the game is way too conservative. They get beat on a trick play, the same trick play they've been beat on the last 2 years, that flea flicker bullshit play. He's so tight in this game. And now what you'll see in the bowl game, whoever they end up playing, is he's going to let it rip, and they're going to blow out whoever they play in the bowl game. That's what will happen with Ohio State in their next game, whoever it's against. But again, hats off to Michigan. They deserve to win. They won at home. But my God, Ryan Day, you got to grow some balls with this game, man. He just mismanages.
Well,
this
last
game,
year he
and
was
for 3 years.
Last year he was very aggressive. Last year,
I mean, last year they got their doors blown off.
I understand that, but I'm saying this year, I did think not going for it and 4th down was very odd. It wasn't like they were like in their own 30-yard. They were near midfield, and at that time the game was up in the balance. On the other side, I thought Michigan was very aggressive. They were going for it. They were making trick plays.
Yep.
Do you think that Ryan Day is going to be back next year, or
yeah?
Because at some point, like if they keep losing this game, you got to think like the fans want to win that game. That's the biggest game of the year. So like you would like to think that like at some point, if he keeps losing, I mean, what do they go back for a 4th time? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think he gets at least one more year because they'll play the game at home next year in Columbus. Maybe it'll be a must win for him. Maybe it won't. But the bottom line is this: Ryan Day has only lost 7 games, I believe, as a head coach. Ryan Day has coached this team to a national title. Ryan Day has won a playoff game. Ryan Day had them within a field goal of going to another national title last year and beating the consensus best team in the country. Ryan Day's bugaboo is Michigan. That's the only knock on Ryan Day's resume right now is Michigan. He can't beat them. But I will say this, he's 1-3 against them because he did beat them in 19. He was the head coach in 19. Now, granted, that was the year Urban got suspended during the year or left at the beginning of the year and didn't come back. So, I don't know if you want to count that, but technically he was the head coach for that game. So technically he's 1-3 against Michigan. Here's how I'll flip it. Michigan fans that are going to stand up and pound their chests about Ryan Day and how terrible he is, they have a very short-term memory. Because Jim Harbaugh started his career at Michigan 0-6 against Ohio State. 0-6 against Ohio State. You want to talk about a guy that was on the hottest of hot seats at the end of every single year because he would lose to them and Urban Meyer every single year. And eventually the tide turned. Is that going to happen with Ryan Day? I'm going to say it's going to have to, and it probably is going to happen quicker. But no, I think he's 100% back next year. I can't see a world where he's not. I can't.
You know what's crazy? I heard is that Harbaugh actually won by them winning the game, and in his bonus clause, they paid him $500,000.
Yeah,
for winning that game.
Yeah, they have,
and he wasn't even at the fucking stadium. He was at home.
They have all those wacky, like if you reach if you reach the playoff, you get this bonus. If you reach the national title, you get this bonus. I mean, all those big time coaches have all.
I mean, to win $500,000 and not even be on the field. I mean, you'd like to think he's maybe. I mean, I don't know. I think that was wild, but. That's now the question I have, and Tick, I'm interested in your thoughts too, as more of an objective kind of standby kind of like thinker. Who is going to be now in the playoff? Because Florida State won, so they're now undefeated, but they don't have their starting quarterback. They're a shell of the team that they are.
They got to play the ACC title game against a good Louisville team, so they still got to win that game.
And Louisville just lost, no?
Yeah, I think Florida State could lose that game, though.
Wow.
So my thought process, and then Alabama almost just lost to Auburn. They won on a freaking Hail Mary, essentially, from the 30-yard line. I mean, a 40-yard line, essentially. So I'm just interested, like, who do you guys think are going to be in the playoff now? Like, Ohio State lost. Do they get to run it back? Like, what do you guys think?
Yeah, Michigan will beat Iowa. They're a 22.5-point favorite. Michigan is in if they win. Obviously. The winner of Washington, Oregon will make the playoff. Yeah. Washington, Oregon, whoever wins that game will make the playoff. That's an automatic bid for the Pac-12, the way the Pac-12 has been this year. I do think that the loser, huh?
Who do you think?
I think Oregon will win the game. I think Oregon's running hot. I think they got it figured out. I think Washington has kind of been ducking and dodging some bullets lately. Oregon. I think Oregon. But the bottom line is winner of Pac-12 goes. Loser of that game, however, even if it's undefeated Washington, they lose that game, I think they're out. So Oregon, Washington winner, Michigan, Georgia, if they beat Alabama, will be in, obviously. Bama, if they beat Georgia, could get a little more interesting of a discussion. Texas, if they win against Oklahoma State, is a discussion. Florida State, if they win, if Florida State beats Louisville, they are in. So the four teams that I think will be in at the end of the day will be Oregon, Michigan, Georgia, or Bama, either or. And then FSU, if they win. If they lose and Texas wins, Texas will be in. They'll be the number 4. And then if Texas loses, this is the only scenario for Ohio State, the only scenario. Texas loses, Florida State loses. If Texas loses and Florida State loses and Georgia beats Alabama, Ohio State will backdoor as the number 4 seed in the playoff.
Who does Florida State have?
Louisville in the ACC title.
Oh, that's right. You said Louisville. Yeah. Florida State, I think if they make it, they're going to get the doors blown off of them.
Yeah,
they barely beat a Florida team that is not good. They are not a good team. And
I just don't see the committee penalizing the team because the quarterback's out. They didn't do it to Ohio State back in 2015, and Ohio State went on and won the national title when their starter got hurt in the last game of the season. JT Barrett got hurt against Michigan. And then, they got to see what Cardell Jones did in the Big Ten championship game. And they hung 59 on Wisconsin and shut them out. They won 59-0. So that was obviously, if Florida State goes out and puts on a dominant performance against Louisville, they're in with a bullet. I happen to believe if they win no matter what and they're undefeated, I think they're going to get benefit of the doubt and get put in regardless. That's my opinion. I think they'll be in regardless.
Now that's who you think's going to be in. Who do you think we did this a few weeks ago? Who do you think the 4 best teams in the country actually are? Who should those 4 teams be? Obviously, politics leaves that aside. I mean, the committee can't bypass certain things like you just mentioned. But who, in your mind, are the actual 4 best teams in the country?
Right now, I think the 4 best teams are Georgia, in no particular order: Georgia, Michigan, Oregon,
Alabama,
and Washington and Alabama. I think Alabama is right. Oregon, Washington, Bama to me are like right on that same level, and then you got Michigan and Georgia.
So you don't have Ohio State in there.
No, not right now. I can't put them above any of those teams until if Bama catches a second loss, if Oregon catches a second loss, it's a different story. But as of now, I'm not gonna put Ohio. I think Ohio State is on the fringe. I think Ohio State would beat Florida State. I think Ohio State would beat Oregon. I think Ohio State
they'd easily beat Florida State.
I think they'd beat Washington. I think they would give those 3 teams, Bama, Georgia, and Michigan, a good game. I mean, they gave Michigan good game already, but people are gonna, talk about McCord again. I don't blame that game on Kyle McCord. I think Kyle McCord's a scapegoat to avoid the more serious issues that are going on with this program. But 4 best teams for me right now: Michigan, Georgia, Oregon, Washington, Bama. I know that's 5. You could substitute 1. Bullet to my head, I'd probably put Bama in over one of the Pac-12 teams. So I would actually say Oregon. I think Washington is about to go down.
They almost lost to Oregon State.
On. I know they've been holding on by the skin of their teeth. Who
Penix is not as...
Oh yeah, weeks ago.
Washington 2 weeks ago almost lost to Oregon State.
I mean, they almost lost to Washington in the Apple Bowl. They almost lost to Washington in the Apple Bowl.
He's not as good as
Washington State.
Washington State. I think he might be fraudulent.
Who?
Penix Jr. Just compared to what they were thinking of him, I think that he's coming in below what people expected from him.
See, I think he's a spectacular college quarterback. I just think the team is not great. I just don't think the team is great.
I don't think he's the Heisman.
No,
I don't think he's the. I think Heisman's going to come down between Bo Nix and Daniels, Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels is he had a spectacular year. I
was looking at his stats. He had a better year than freaking Burrow. I mean, it's unbelievable the numbers he put up.
Yeah, they just can't stop anybody. That's the problem with LSU. Their defense, and that's not usually an issue with LSU. But
hey, folks, just wanted to interrupt the podcast to let you know that the Sportsman Podcast is brought to you by our friends at Manscaped. The holidays are here, and there is no better time than right here, right now, to get your balls ready to jingle for the holidays. And in order to do that, we would love to introduce you to the new Performance Package 5.0 Ultra by Manscaped, featuring the Lawnmower 5.0. All you got to do is use our promo code SportsmanPod20, and when you do so, you will be eligible for 20% off and free shipping. So unwrap the gift of smoothness this season with Manscaped, and let's get you all set for the holidays.
All right, moving on to the NFL. Eagles, Bills, I think that was probably the game of the week, the one that a lot of people had their eyes on.
Game of the year.
Josh,
it
was an unbelievable year.
Josh Allen versus Jalen Hurts, 2 very good teams with high expectations. Joey D, what'd you make of that game, man?
Man, I tell you, this Eagles team is just resilient. They don't lose, and we've talked about them, it seems like a lot. Obviously, they're your team tick, but they just don't lose games. Like, they should not have won that game. In the first half, the Bills dominated. I think they had way more time at possession, yards, everything. And then they made a couple mistakes. They made a couple missed field goals by Bass, and then the pick from Josh. And then you turn around, and all of a sudden the Eagles are down 3, and they're right back in the game. This team has moxie, or whatever it is that whatever you want to call it. And I think the big thing about it is a lot of the guys on the team are comprised of Georgia and Alabama players, and these guys have been winning for years. They just know how to win when it matters. And again, they did it. I mean, I thought you guys were done an absolutely clutch field goal, 59 yards in that weather. Unbelievable. It's just they refuse to lose. And then once it's sent to overtime, I mean, I said, there's no way they're going to lose the game. I actually have the Bills. I thought Josh played outstanding. The Bills at the end of the day just could not make stops. They could not get out of their own way. Massive amounts of penalties. But wow, what a game it was. It was very exciting for the average viewer, just back and forth, tons of offense, tons to be excited about. That's what the NFL wants to see more of, games like that. That was one of the better games I've watched in a long time.
Yeah, it's about time. I mean, the NFL product, the NFL product in the last couple of years, honestly, games like that are few and far between. There's a couple of them every year, but they're few and far between. Joe hit the nail on the head in his closing statement, saying that that's the kind of game the NFL, dreams of. That's a fantasy game for the NFL. Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, two marquee quarterbacks, two major market franchises. Buffalo, to me, even though maybe Buffalo is a smaller market, but still a New York franchise, a big time fan base, huge following. Those are the type of games that the NFL dreams of. The weather conditions, that was football weather. It looked like a football game. It played out like a football game. The Jake Elliott kick was preposterous. The Gabe Davis missed play was preposterous. So you had those moments of absurdity, and then you had those heroic moments, the Josh Allen run, the Jalen Hurts run. I mean, it was a storybook game. It's a shame that game wasn't a Super Bowl. That would have been a great Super Bowl game. That would have been a great playoff game. And it actually comes down to, really, I mean, does the game really mean that much? It's an out of conference game. So for what it actually counts for both teams, it's actually quite minimum compared to, playing conference opponents and certainly divisional opponents, but nevertheless, extremely entertaining. The best game so far this year. The Philadelphia Eagles just continue to find a way to win. First half was abysmal from Jalen Hurts. He came right out and said it. But it didn't matter, because the best ones, they could have a shitty half, they could have a shitty quarter, shitty series, and they just bounce back and they win. They find a way to win. That's all that matters. I don't care about what your stat line is, as long as you find a way to win, and as long as it looks like there's something that you can take from the game and put it moving forward to build on and grow upon. And that's what the Eagles do every week, it looks like. On the flip side, I thought the Bills did the same. I don't think the Bills should be, if I'm a Bills fan, I certainly liked what I saw this week against the Eagles a lot more than I liked anything I've seen in recent weeks from the Bills and Josh Allen. This was a promising development for the Bills to go into Philly and nearly beat the defending NFC champion. Probably should have beat the defending NFC champion. That's a positive step in the right direction for Allen and the Bills. Maybe this will be the corner that they needed to turn. But Eagles onward and upward, 10-1. You can't fucking debate 10-1. Very, very good game coming up with San Francisco this week for the Eagles.
Yeah.
That's gonna be an absolute pleasure to watch as well. Hopefully it lives up to even close to the type of football game that we just saw.
Yeah, I mean, on the Bills side of things, I agree with everything that Mikey just said. I mean, there's not a lot to, be disappointed about compared to where the Bills were the last few weeks. There are still some of these drives where Josh Allen is like, it's almost like, what's he doing? What's he looking at? Or there's just miscommunication with some of his receivers and his offensive players. But as far as four quarters go, the Bills have a lot to be happy about with that game. I mean, they played a 9-1 team, now 10-1 after that, and a team that finds ways to win. And, they played a really good fucking football game, and they don't have much to be down on themselves about. On the Eagles side of the ball, I mean, the Eagles, to me, look like they're almost back to what they were last year. They're just about there. It was a really bad first fucking half of football.
Yeah, first half was tough to watch.
They can't put four quarters together. They're always playing like shit in one of those quarters, but they're good enough to come back and win 10 games this year. They only lost one so far. So I'm not going to sit here and bitch like I had in the beginning of the year, because they really do. Jalen is rushing the ball again like he did last year. And a big difference maker this year is, I love Miles Sanders, but DeAndre Swift is just a fucking different kind of fucking back, man. Our offense, as good as it was last year, is even better with a guy like him back there with Jalen Hurts. So Eagles, I mean, they look pretty fucking unbelievable. They've got that championship mentality of just find a way to win. Even if we only play one half of football, we'll still find a way to do it against a good team like the Bills. So a lot to be happy, honestly, about both teams. I know the Bills are in a tough spot. I know teams like the Browns and the Steelers are actually ahead of them in the wild card race. But if they keep playing like they did against the Eagles, I think they've got a lot to look forward to.
I think
if I'm a Bills fan, I would not. Sorry, Joe. I would not be concerned with the Browns or the Steelers.
No,
like, I mean,
today they are ahead.
Maybe
of
the Broncos.
No, they are.
Maybe the
They
Broncos.
The Broncos are a problem. Broncos are a problem.
Broncos are a legitimate problem right now.
They're a problem.
They are maybe the hottest team in the NFL.
And if there's certain teams that like they make a move like this after they've had such a poor start, and those are the teams like that you latch on to if you're gambling. And that's what I've done the last couple of weeks and used them for my picks. And I mean, because they're getting such favorable lines still. Vegas is kind of still on the beginning of the season Broncos hangover, and that's not going to last much longer because they're winning. They're just winning games. They're winning games, and they look a lot more effective.
Yeah, I will say a good thing for your Eagles, Tick, is that they've had a tough schedule. So like, a lot of the games where we said they've won ugly, like they're beating good teams. So that's really good for you moving into the playoffs.
The first 6 games we had was easy as pie. And that's when I was majorly concerned, was when we were not letting teams, we weren't just beating the shit out of teams like the Patriots, and we lost to the Jets and teams like that. But yes, the second half of our schedule is very good football teams, and we're still doing the same thing. But I was more concerned at the beginning of the year, is like, why are we still playing the Patriots in the fourth quarter here? Why are we still getting the fights? But yeah, no, I agree that there's a lot to look forward to right now. I mean, they seem to figure it out despite Sirianni.
The Bills,
I hate them.
I think the Bills are going to make the playoffs, but they have a tough schedule, man. They have some tough teams that they still have to play. Since Ken Dorsey's been fired, the offense is operating at a much higher success rate. I mean, Josh Allen looked unbelievable. I mean, yes, he had a couple, errant throws here or there, a couple, kind of head scratchers, but like, if your quarterback plays that good, you should be winning that game. There is no reason why you should not win that game. They got to still tighten it up, man. McDermott, I don't know, man. They had like a dozen penalties on them in that game. At least there were so many penalties on the Bills that game for just stupid things, which really impacted the game. And then the 2 missed field goals, that was the difference. And when you play a team like the Eagles who know how to win, it doesn't take much. Unless you play a perfect game, it's going to be hard to beat a team like that.
Yeah, one of the biggest issues with the Bills, and then we'll move on, is just that defense too, man. Even if the offense gets back to 100% and Josh Allen's playing as well as he does, that defense just when they need a stop, they give up points. Every time they need a stop from their defense, they can't seem to stop anybody. So, it's not all Josh Allen's fault. It's the whole fucking team, the defense especially. I think they just need some more help over there, but they're probably not going to get it this year. But let's rewind here. Let's bring it back to Joe's Packers. I don't want to necessarily talk just because it's Joe and he loves the Packers, but it was actually a pretty good game, and they beat one of the best teams in the league, despite sort of having ups and downs, wild on both ends of the spectrum. But the Packers ended up beating the Lions 29-22. Mikey, let's actually start with you on this one. What'd you make of that game?
Well, I think the Lions may be a little fraudulent. I mean that. They got blown out by the Ravens. They should have lost to the Bears. They lose. They get them. Frankly, I mean, listen, was that game even really close? The Thanksgiving game? I mean, the Packers jumped all over them from the jump. The Lions were in a hole that whole game. Really wasn't much of a game. And to do that at home, if they're on the road, that's one thing, but you're at home in a situation where everybody's always on your ass about, you host Thanksgiving game every year and you lose almost every year. This is not the time to do that. You're 7-3 or 8-3, whatever it is. This was not the time for the Lions to lay an egg, and they proceeded to lay a gigantic egg. Jared Goff didn't look good again. And, the Lions have a lot of talent. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Gibbs and Montgomery and, that offensive line, and just something is off. And I don't know if it's just Goff, but their defense is not good. The defense is not good. It's never good. It may be streaky and, they may get some sacks here and there, but the defense just isn't good. I don't trust them. And the NFC North, I guess, because of the way the Vikings have looked now the last couple of weeks and the way Green Bay started the year, I guess the NFC North is still kind of locked up for Detroit. But Jordan Love, tip your cap to Jordan Love. You got to give Jordan Love credit where credit's due. He was making throws on Thanksgiving that were as good a throws as you're going to get in this league. As good a throws as you're going to get. I mean, the only throws that you're going to see that'll wow you more than the throws that Jordan Love made on Thanksgiving Day was like when Mahomes runs around in the pocket and makes one of those wacky, crazy circus throws. But if you're talking pure pocket throws, I saw Jordan Love make some throws on Thanksgiving that I was like, holy shit, do these guys really have another guy that's going to consistently perform like this? And that's going to be the key with Jordan Love. Is that going to be the Jordan Love you see week in and week out? That was in a dome. It was not outside. It was not in the elements. So is Jordan Love going to be able to deliver like that consistently? If he does, the Packers are going to be in fine shape moving forward. As much as I hate to say it, it's the truth.
Joseph?
Yeah, man, Jordan Love looked so good this game. He looked poised. It's been now not just this game. It's been the game against the Chargers. He looked great. I mean, it's 2-3 weeks in a row now. He's starting to put up really good numbers, and he's starting to get more touchdowns under his belt. His completions are increasing, and I'm seeing comparison statistics to other quarterbacks in the league, even guys like Mahomes. The statistics shockingly are not that far off. He's quietly getting it together. And as long as he can do that, these young receivers are making catches. Dobbs, Jaden Reed. Listen, Christian Watson, I buried him
back last couple of weeks. Yeah,
I buried him last episode 2 weeks ago, and since then he looked unbelievable right out of the gate. First play of the game, they throw the ball 50 yards downfield and he makes the catch. So if they could do that, man, if they could start getting into a rhythm, and the defense is making plays, that's the big thing, because the defense, you never know what you're going to get, but the defense was making plays. They were getting stops. They were holding, and the Lions are pretty solid offense overall. I was shocked that Green Bay won this game outright. This is by far the best win for the team this entire year, to go on the road, because when we played the Lions back home several weeks back, they kind of toyed with us. We were really never in that game.
Yeah.
This was a flipped script. This game, the Packers from start to finish, we dictated the game. We owned the game. We called, and you know what? I talk bad about LaFleur. He called a great game from start to finish. I thought the play calls, everything. If the Packers can muster some wins, they can somehow. They're one game back. Well, I think, one game back of a playoff spot, a wild card spot, and they're behind teams like Minnesota, who just lost to the Chicago Bears, the Seahawks, who looked lost the last 2 weeks. They can do it. Now they're playing the Chiefs this week at home. That's probably going to be a loss. But I am really impressed with the effort and just the overall poise the Packers are showing. This is a rebuild year for us. And my God, nothing about that game screamed rebuild last week.
Nothing.
They looked fucking good.
That did not look like a team in a rebuild. That looked like a team that was a playoff team. That looked like a playoff team on Thanksgiving Day. And
shocking, but that's the facts. Take it, do you agree? I mean, that's your Lions. That's your second team. I mean,
the Lions
you've been hot on them all year. I mean, what do you think?
The Lions, I don't understand why they look so bad one week and so good the next. I don't know if it's Dan Campbell. I don't know if it's Jared Goff. I mean, obviously he's not a premier quarterback, but
I don't think so either. And it actually boggles my mind how Lions fans will go to they love Jared Goff. They do. Yeah. They love Jared Goff.
They love that he's been there since this sort of Dan Campbell rebuild era. I think they're loyal to that point with him. But the other thing too is Jahmyr Gibbs has been your guy. Why didn't you, when it wasn't working with the pass, why didn't you just run him into the ground? Why didn't you use him the way you've been using him the last 3-4 weeks? And he's been incredible. And on the other side too, you know what I don't understand? They've got a lot of good pieces. They don't necessarily need this guy. They've got St. Brown, they've got Laporta, they've got Gibbs. What's wrong with Jameson Williams? I don't know why this guy can't catch a football. Mikey, I mean, I know you watched him a lot in college.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah,
you're
sure
seeing?
did. I watched him when he was very little known. Everyone knows, everyone thinks Alabama, Alabama. Jamison Williams was an Ohio State receiver with Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson against Clemson in that one playoff game before he went to Alabama, and he was good, but he was not consistent. He was not an Olave. He was not a Garrett Wilson. He did not have that level of consistency. Now, his ability, his ceiling is mega high, so that's why there's a lot of hype behind him. But Jamison Williams is not going to be a Chris Olave for you. Jamison Williams is not going to be a Jordan Addison for you. He's not consistent like that. He's just not. Of course, he looked awesome at Bama because people watch Bama on TV, and Bama is Bama, and guys just look awesome playing for Bama when you're a starter and you're a receiver. Like, you always look great. Like, but he's not Julio. He's not Devontae Smith. He's Jamison Williams, and he'll be Jag. He'll be just a guy, albeit a guy who can make some spectacular plays every once in a while. But the consistency for me isn't there. But I'm looking at the Lions schedule real quick, and let's take just to see the teams that they've beat this year. They beat the Chiefs in that first game of the season, the Thursday game. They beat them by 1 point. Okay, not taking anything away there. They went into Arrowhead. That's probably their best win, honestly. The next week, they lose to Seattle. They beat Atlanta. They beat the Packers very early in the season, like Joe said. They beat the Carolina Panthers, who are the worst team in the league. They beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are so terrible. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are so terrible that it's not even funny. They got blown out by the Ravens. They beat the Raiders before Antonio Pierce became the coach, the McDaniels Raiders, who were god-awful. Yeah. They beat the Chargers by 3 points, hung 41, but the Chargers are terrible. And then they almost lost to the Bears. They should have lost to the Bears. And then they lost to the Packers. They really have not beaten anybody, really. The Chiefs. They've beaten the Chiefs. That's the real win that they have.
They have left, Mikey.
They got the Saints this week. They'll beat them. That's an easy game. They got Chicago. They got Chicago in 2 weeks. And you know what? The way the Bears defense is playing, I don't know if that's a gimme game. Then they got the Broncos. I'd be interested to see that. They got the Vikings. They got the Cowboys and the Vikings again. So that schedule, it could be interesting down the stretch. We'll see. But the Lions, favorable schedule. We'll see. This league is tough. It's tough to gauge. Gauge because there's really not many great teams. There's not many great teams. There's good teams. There's a few great teams. And then there's a lot of mediocre to not so good teams.
Yeah. There's a lot of bad teams.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to a team that we've touched on a couple times now. Let's move on to the Browns and the Broncos game. Not necessarily an interesting watch, but interesting to see where the Broncos have come in these last 5 weeks. We sort of knew that they were probably going to beat the Browns. They just can't muster anything on offense. But what was surprising is that they put up 29, a once meek Russell Wilson offense, put up 29 on a pretty damn good Browns defense.
Yeah, is it pretty good?
Well,
oh, no, Mikey.
Is it pretty good?
I will talk me through it, Mike.
No, listen, again, I people like Browns fans have been coming after me, bro. Like Browns fans just think I'm like repeatedly shitting on Cleveland. I'm really not, guys. Like I think you guys have some superstar players, Del Pitt and Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward. I think some of these players on this defense are such superstars that they just make these incredible plays, every so often on drives, and they make that defense look a lot better than they are. I understand that collective, but here's the thing. Denver now, Sean Payton has figured out, and Russell Wilson has figured out, I think, how to complement each other and what Sean Payton needs to call to get the most out of Russell Wilson in this offense. And I think what you're seeing is the offense is starting to hum a little bit. And Wilson isn't putting up necessarily monster games. He's not, but they are efficient. They're moving the ball and they're scoring when they have to score. Denver is hot. The Denver Broncos defense is playing really, really well. They are a very hard-hitting team. Some people would probably say that they are a little bit of a cheap shot hitting team. This team will punch you right in the mouth, that Denver defense, and that is a Sean Payton calling card. His defense is the bounty gate shit. That is a notorious trait for Sean Payton coach defenses, that they tend to be a little over aggressive and nasty. But you know what? In Denver, it's fitting. I love what's going on with Denver right now. I really do. I'm high on the Denver Broncos right now. I think everything they're doing is working now. They got Javonte Williams getting involved. Cortland Sutton is a monster, it appears. Russell's using his legs when he's got to use his legs a little bit. And it's definitely working out in the Broncos' favor. And that's a team now that's won how many in a row now? 5 in a row for Denver? Yeah.
5 in a row.
I mean, they're going on the road. They're beating the Bills in Buffalo. I mean, this isn't like
they beat the Chiefs.
They're not beating dog shit teams, guys. They're not. And Cleveland, again, that was always going to be a tough spot for Cleveland. Dorian Thompson-Robinson coming into Mile High. That's just a notoriously difficult place to play. But the Broncos, man, I think Russell maybe he's riding right now.
Well, I think the thing with Russell right now,
riding.
He's not doing too much. He's not he looked before like he was trying to do too much. And I think maybe Payton's kind of settled him into that offense, and he's just trusting it because he looks comfortable. And all of last year, he looked out of sorts. He looked like he was like a square block that you were trying to fit in a circle peg. And it was not, it just didn't, you know what I'm talking about? Like with the Lego
round, square peg in a round hole.
Oh. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But now I think.
Well, you know why that was too, Joe, because Nathaniel Hackett stinks. That's why.
Yeah, he does.
Nathaniel Hackett stinks.
Word on the street.
Sean Payton didn't mince words about it too. He said it straight up.
He wasn't wrong. He was.
I mean, listen. As bad as it started to look like Sean Payton was a real, looked like a real hypocrite. Now he's starting to turn things around there.
Oh yeah,
and they're starting to win games. But I think he looks comfortable. The defense is looking good. They're playing their style of football. They're not trying to play somebody else. And I think that's been the biggest thing. The Browns are like one of these other teams. I would group them with the Steelers. I would group them with, even the Texans, I would say, at some point, as good as CJ Stroud has played, they're going to start losing games. They're ahead of the Bills, and they're not going to be ahead of the Bills for that much longer because a team like the Browns, for example, they're not going to win games when your quarterback can't score. He can't score touchdowns.
He's good on the team.
And PJ.
Well, what I'm saying is
PJ Walker's is equally as bad. Now, are they going to play Joe Flacco, or like what was the reason they got Joe Flacco? Are they actually going to trot Joe Flacco's corpse out there to play quarterback? I don't know.
I don't think the defense is bad, but when you have to play that much per game, you're on the field that much, it just wears you down, man. And then you start seeing them give up points, and it's like they play hard for like 2-3 quarters, and then by the end of the game, they've got nothing left because their offense can't score.
The Browns defense, I want to make this very clear. The Browns defense is not bad. They're not bad. In fact, they're good. They're good. But they're not great. They're not all time. They're not like wonderful. They're not like special. They're not the best defense in the league. The Browns fans just want to make this defense out to be something more than it is, in my opinion. They've overhyped it. That's all I'm saying about the Browns. It's not. Listen, it's unfortunate that Watson went down. It's unfortunate even more so that Chubb went down, because if both those players had not, and you had them all year with this defense, you probably would have a very good Cleveland team, but that's not the case.
Yeah. I mean, I think these Broncos, man, sort of what Joe was saying with the square peg in the round hole, or what have you, is that Sean Payton sort of walked in there and it seemed like he didn't really know what he was working with. And he walked in there like he still had Drew Brees. He had this high-powered offense. He walked in there like he maybe thought he had Patrick Mahomes or one of these great offenses. But then he realized he took a step back after 6 weeks or 5 weeks or whatever it was, and was like, okay, this is what I got. How do I make this work? Maybe I have to change my way of thinking. Let's play more defense. Let's just sort of make Russell more of just a utility guy. He just gets the ball. He makes the right plays in the right moment. And now it's working for him. Now they look
a great job.
I still don't think they're a great team. I think if they go out early, but they're certainly not the worst team in the league like I thought they were, and for a while it looked like they were. And you
don't want to play that team right now. I can tell you that. I would not want to play them right now. I would not with the way the defense is playing and the way that Russell's playing. I think you're right, Tick. I think, Russell got paid so much money and they gave up so much to get him that when he came in, I think, Hackett certainly was just like, okay, this guy is the best is a top 3 quarterback in the league. The way we're paying him, here you go. It's all on you. And I think Peyton, as the great ones do, has adjusted, and the adjustments look like they're working very well. And that's what it's all about in this league. Can you adjust on the fly and make it work and make the changes that you got to make quickly and efficiently? And that's what's happening in Denver right now. And they are one of the hottest teams in the league.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Let's touch on one more game, because there weren't a lot of great games this week. I mean, as Mikey V said, the product is not very good. But I want to touch on one more game, not necessarily because the game was great or interesting, because this team is somehow got a good record again. The Steelers played the Bengals. The Bengals are nothing without Joe Burrow. There's not much to talk about there. But the Steelers keep winning football games. Again, they're not a very good team, but they have a decent record. They're in a decent spot for the playoff picture. Joey D, break this team down for me. I mean, is Kenny Pickett any good? Is the offense any good? What's going on with the Steelers?
They've certainly looked better since they got rid of Matt Canada. Or do they still have? Did they get rid of him?
They got rid of him. Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah. So because I think like this week, I know they didn't score a ton of points, but they had more offense and more yards on offense than they've had in what they had, like 400 yards of offense or something like that. Like they looked really good. Kenny Pickett was making throws. Pickens was playing well. Najee Harris actually looked somewhat durable. Like he looked competent on the field. So again, I think this is another case where maybe, some of these offensive coordinators try to play a certain style of football, or they try to play or adhere to a playbook that might just not work for the offense. And sometimes removing something like that allows these guys just to play the game that they're used to playing, and it opens the game up a lot for them. And I think that's what you're seeing with the Steelers. I still don't know if they're good enough to make the playoffs. They certainly, the record shows that they're in a position where they can be. I think they're one of those teams that make the playoffs with the wild card, because they're not going to be better than the Ravens. And then they get, maybe an early exit, early knockout.
They did beat the Ravens.
I know, which is shocking, because I think if those two teams played right now, I think the Ravens are firing on all cylinders. I actually think the Ravens are one of the best teams in the league right now. And I think that they would take it to the Steelers. But anytime you have a good defense, Tick, you see it with a lot of teams. You're always in the game, and they got game-changing players. TJ Watt is arguably a top 5 player in the league in terms of his defensive prowess and his ability to score and impact, from a defensive perspective turn that into offensive points. That's not going to change. This Warren, I think the more that they go to him as their lead back, he is dynamic and he is fast. He can make big time plays. And then they go to Najee for like the change of pace back, and he can kind of be a bruiser. So I think they have a recipe for success, which is why they got some wins under their belt. But I don't think they're going to take down the top dogs in the league right now if push comes to shove.
No, they won't. But they're sitting in the catbird seat because their remaining schedule is a joke. I mean, it is a joke. They got the Cardinals at home this week. Then they got the Patriots at home the week after that. Then they got the Colts. Then they got the Bengals at home again without Joe Burrow. And then they close out with the Seahawks. And then the final game of the year is the Ravens. So that's a tough game at Baltimore. But I mean, are you kidding me? Those 5 games in between Cardinals, Patriots, Colts, no Burrow, Bengals, and the Seahawks. Like that is the easiest 5-game stretch. And that's advantageous for the Steelers. And you know what? You can only play who you're scheduled to play. So it doesn't matter. And listen, they'll play defense, they'll run the ball. Pickett will try and make a couple more throws to Pickens. Deontay Johnson should be cut. I would cut Deontay Johnson tomorrow. He's a clown, bro. This guy.
You see what he did?
I saw what he did on that fumble and how he didn't throw a block to start the play. I mean, talk about a guy now. He dropped the touchdown in the end zone. Like this guy is just, he's got to go, man. Like, I don't know how he's not cut. I would just cut him. I mean, it's not like you're cutting somebody who's given you tremendous production over the last 2 years. Like he hadn't caught a touchdown pass for how many games in a row until the other week. Like this guy is just, he's not it. He's not good for the locker room. That's not good for the team to keep a guy. It reminds me of Claypool. I mean, they went from Claypool to this guy, very similar type guy, selfish, just not contributing positively to the culture in that locker room, I would cut him. But whatever, I don't make that decision. But Steelers are in a very good spot right now with their schedule. They're sitting in the catbird seat.
This team that is, to me, in my opinion, is the definition of mediocre, just a middle of the road type of team. To Mikey's point about the schedule, could end up with 11, 12 wins at the end of this year, which the Steelers
They should win their next 4 out of 5.
Yeah,
They should win 4 out of 5. If not 5, they should win 4 or 5.
But you want to talk, one of the biggest tragedies going in the NFL is, just a guy out there with an immense amount of talent, just running routes, getting cardio in, is George Pickens. This guy, he makes an amazing throw or amazing catch rather, every time the ball comes his way. They just can't get it to him, man. Yeah. He's just running routes. And it's a shame when you see talent like that just sort of squandered, man, on a team that's going nowhere. Sort of like, I'm not saying he's Megatron, but to watch a guy like Megatron do fucking great things on a team that just was going nowhere for fucking ever, it's always sad to see. Hopefully, maybe they'll get a quarterback in there one day.
Pickett reminds me of like Rex Grossman with Chad Pennington's arm. That's what he reminds me of, like a Rex Grossman, small hands, like littler guy. With a Chad, with not like Rex had a rocket, like he don't have that arm, but like with like a Chad Pennington arm. So like I mean the recipe for success for the Steelers is going to be running the football, play action, but I think they have to establish that connection with Pickens, because when he does get the ball to Pickens, good things happen. That's got to be his guy. Like, forget about, and that's what I mean. Like Deontay Johnson, the only thing that's going to happen keeping him there is he's going to be bitching and moaning about how he's not getting the ball. And if you don't think that plays in the psyche of Pickett, and Pickett's not a guy who wants to like try and get, guys the ball that want the ball, like, of course he's going to want to try and do that. But that's why I think they'd just be better served to let some other guy step up and try and be the complementary to Pickens.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. All right, gentlemen, let's move on to week 13. Let's start with Thursday night. We got the Seahawks rolling into Dallas. Dallas is a 9-point favorite. Joey D, who's there?
Dallas is on some kind of roll right now, man. And there's a saying, good teams win, great teams cover, and they're covering their spreads every week. It seems high, and you think maybe they're going to have a let up, and they cover, and they just win, and they cover, and Dak has never looked better. I'm going to take not the Seahawks. I'm going to take the Cowboys to roll over the Seahawks. There's a lot of issues right now. Geno Smith, I don't know if he's healthy or if he's not. It don't matter. Drew Lock is worse. Now Kenneth Walker's banged up. There's some serious problems with that team, and I don't think they're coming over at any time soon. The Cowboys are going to smash the Seahawks in this game. 9.5. I would jump on that. I think they could win up to 12 or 13 points.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You're talking about two teams heading in completely opposite directions. Seattle hosts San Francisco on Thanksgiving night and gets absolutely obliterated on national TV. If it weren't for that pick six that Purdy, I don't even know why the fuck the 49ers were throwing the ball from there. If it weren't for that pick six, it wouldn't have even been like remotely close. So Seattle is going to get pounded by Dallas on Thursday night. Short week, especially a hangover like that from the Thanksgiving game. Dallas will be coming out ready to fly. Give me Dallas 9.5. Nothing else to say.
Yeah, we're starting right off the bat here with my game of the week. This is the second I saw this. Dallas is going to fucking smash. Don't fucking listen to me. I've had one of the most abysmal all fucking.
Yeah, you called the Packers dumb. You called Packers money line.
I got pretty much all the games last week, but needless to say, on our live, there was only 4 games, but fucking don't listen to me. But that being said, my game of the week is Dallas. I got the line here. I got it at 9. But like Joe said, 9.5, fucking 10 doesn't matter, man. I think they're going to absolutely decimate this Seahawks team. And again, it'll be another primetime game that won't be that interesting to watch. Moving on today, we got the Browns heading to LA, playing the Rams, the washed up Matt Stafford.
He looked good.
Rams, he may
not be completely washed. He may just be on spin cycle.
Well, the line is
Cooper Kupp playing this game?
I think
Yeah,
he
he
looked
played
out.
last week
I think he
I thought he got hurt.
I think he got
again.
hurt again.
Ugh,
Yeah, I
God.
think he's becoming one of those
Yeah.
guys that just
Yeah, he's washed.
yeah. But
washed.
the line is 3.5.
Jeez.
The Rams are laying down. Mikey V, who do you like in that game?
What's the line? 3.5 Rams.
Oh, jeez.
3.5 Rams.
3.5 Rams.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know who's starting at quarterback for the Browns. If it's going to be Walker, it's going to be Dorian Thompson Robinson. I honestly think that DTR would be better than PJ Walker.
Cool.
Again, though, the Rams shouldn't be a 3.5 point favorite, though. They shouldn't. It should be 3. I think it's 3.5 because the Browns' uncertainty at quarterback. Listen, Cleveland, you're going to get something that you're going to thank me for now. Cleveland fans can stop coming at me. I'm going to take the Browns plus 3.5. I know. Yeah, I'm gonna. And Ticket hates it. Ticket is a Stafford simp. He just loves Matthew Stafford. You love Matthew Stafford.
I do. I like him a lot, but also
washed.
this is more coming from a place where you're just acting ridiculous.
Here is the week that Stafford throws 2 pick sixes this week against.
You guys want a side bet? Side bet?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, against that crap or middle of the
Oh,
road.
whoa! I literally
Browns
made it a point
defense.
to say the Browns
I know
defense is good.
you said they're good. They're not great.
They're good.
You
No,
made
they're
it sound
not.
in the middle of the road, but they're gonna get 2 pick sixes this week.
Yeah, I think Stafford's going to turn the ball over 3 times, thrice, once, twice, thrice on Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah, give me the Browns plus 3.5.
All right, Joey, do you like that?
I'm taking the Rams, dude. I don't know who's going to score for the Browns.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a
this
good question. The
quarterback can't
defense.
score points. Yeah, I mean, apparently Mikey's got a pick 6, so maybe pick a anytime touchdown for special teams or defense.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a good pick for the Browns. Maybe
Yeah.
that's a good pick. That's going to pay a lot of juice too. That's gonna be a nice plus money bet. No, I just don't honestly know where they're going to score because this Dorian Thompson kid, God bless him, but he looks scared out there, and games in LA. Give me the Rams. I think that they do enough. I don't think this is going to be any particularly incredible game to watch. It'll probably be kind of scrappy back and forth. And I do think that the Browns will hang in there, but I just don't think ultimately that they'll score enough points. I think 3.5 is, I agree with Mikey. I think 3 would be a number I'd be more liking to go ahead and put money on this game if I was going to bet it. But 3.5, I think just for the sake of betting, I'll take the Rams because we take teams here. That's what we do. I actually think, what is the over-under on this game? It's going to be a low-scoring game.
39.5.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah,
39.5? Yeah, you can't even fuck with that.
Yeah.
Leave that game
It's going to be a
alone.
low.
Don't bet that game.
But
Yeah,
my
don't
point
bet-
is, I'm saying I would look more at a total than actually picking a team because it's just kind of a
take Browns defense special teams first touchdown score. It's probably plus 3,000.
oh man, you put 20
Or no,
bucks
probably
on
not.
it.
It's probably plus 2,200 first touchdown score.
Put 20 bucks on it, you make $500.
Yeah,
Yeah.
might be my play of the week. We'll get back to that.
Don't bet this game, but if you are going to bet
No.
it, bet the
No.
Rams minus 3.5. Do that. And I tell you why. It's not going to be because of Matt Stafford, although I don't think he's washed. A guy that not many people are talking about, and he just came back last week, and he was a difference maker for them, is Kyron Williams. This guy is an unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
He's a very, very talented back that isn't really getting much credit, probably because he plays on the fucking mediocre team. But he's a difference maker for them. He changes their entire offense. He changes how they use Matt Stafford and the throwing game. And he's back. And he does. He makes them a more dynamic, more threatening offense as a fucking whole. And I think he's going to be the difference here. I mean, I know the Browns have a pretty decent rushing defense, but I just the Browns can't fucking score, man. Whoever they want to
Aaron
throw.
Donald's going to cause some problems.
Yeah, man. They're going to win.
Donald
They're going to win
Schmonald.
by 10 points, man. They're going to win by. It's going to be.
No,
10.
Aaron Donald's good.
Yeah, he's in
real
the spin
good.
cycle too, isn't he? He's fucking right
He's
there.
real good. No, he's good. He's good.
Yeah, all
He's a
right.
dog.
I
Dog.
sure hope, Mikey.
Sure.
All right, let's move on here. We got this is the game of the week, apparently.
Oh yeah.
The Niners heading to Philadelphia. Philadelphia's been playing a lot of these big games at home, lucky enough for them. 49ers are in Philadelphia. The Niners in Philadelphia are a 3-point favorite.
That's absurd.
That is
That is so fucking ridiculous.
Respectful.
It is disrespectful. My God, man. Game of the week. Fucking give it to me. I don't care. Give me the Eagles.
Oh,
Give me the Eagles money line. Money line. Give me the Eagles. And this was not going to be my game of the week until Ticket just told me that the Niners are a 3-point. That is so immensely
road.
disrespectful to the Philadelphia. And the Eagles were just in a battle, man. And the Niners got more time to prepare for the game. They got a longer week to prepare. So, you know, as a bettor, I bet a lot of public money is going to be on San Francisco because longer week, the show they put on Thursday night, Eagles overtime, that game probably zapped a lot out of them, but you do not make them an underdog at home to the team that they beat in the NFC title last year. That's just disrespectful. That's just flat out wrong and disrespectful. God. Give me the Birds money line.
Joey D.
Wow, I agree with Mikey. I think I thought you were going to say maybe they were like a 1-point favorite or something like that.
I thought the Eagles would be favored by 3. The Eagles, this line should be Philly -3.
I'm saying though, if San Francisco was favored, I could see by like a point. You know what I mean? Like 3 points on the road is like, and I bet you the conditions are not going to be great. I will take the Eagles with the points. I don't mind the money line, but getting points for the Eagles, the best team in the league, that is to me a no-brainer. You just got to take that.
They just have to. The Eagles must block that D line. If they block Young and Bosa and Armstead and Hargrave, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. They'll be fine if they could do that. If they can't, that's going to be the way San Fran wins.
This is a tough game, man, because everyone talks about the Eagles defense and yet they give up 30 every fucking game. And the Niners have a good defense that doesn't do that. They have a real good defense that actually fucking gives up 17 sometimes, gives up 20, gives up 15, you know.
Purdy's going to get rocked, Tick. They're going to rock Purdy.
Well, they've got a lot of good pieces there on offense. And the other thing about this piece, and another reason I don't like Sirianni as a coach, is not the kind of coach that when you come off a huge game like that, they're going to practice this week the same way they practice every week. He's going to be a little lenient on them. They're 10-1. There's not a lot to fight for. They're coming off a big week. I just don't think he's going to fucking have the boys ready. I think they're going to come out, have a bad first half again. And I think the 49ers, I don't know if they win this game, but I think that they fucking, it's going to be really close. I wouldn't touch it. I'm not going to go near it. But gun to my head, just to go against you guys, I guess I'm going to take the 49ers -3. I'd love to see the Eagles win. I think they can win, but I just don't think Sirianni's going to have this team ready. And I think the 49ers are going to take advantage of it.
I don't think.
By the way,
I think you put too much stock in what Sirianni's going to do. I really do. I think that Jalen Hurts runs this fucking team. I really do. I understand Sirianni is the head coach, but I really think Hurts is the guy that is the guy that tells everybody, hey, when the whip needs to be cracked. No, I think that Hurts is the guy who cracks the whip on everybody, not Sirianni. I can't see Hurts allowing that. I love this.
Getting the defense conditioned during the week, getting them game ready, getting them absolutely ready. He's treating them differently this week after something like that. And I know he does. I've seen him do this last year. I've seen him do it. Maybe
Purdy will throw 2 interceptions on Sunday. Two.
I don't mind that.
Fired with 1. Byard will have a pick.
Joey D?
This is something separate. I just want to let you guys know that the college football rankings just came out.
Ohio State is 6.
Yeah. Number 1 is Georgia. Number 2 is now Michigan. Yeah. Washington is number 3, and number 4, Florida State.
Wow. And then number 5 is Oregon. And Bama and Texas are sitting behind Ohio State.
Wow.
Which is interesting. Okay. So I'm telling you now, Florida State loses, Georgia beats Alabama, and Texas loses, Ohio State's in the playoff. Ohio State is in the playoff if those 3 things happen. And let me tell you something. That's the last team you want to play is Ohio State. That's the last team you want to play. And if they get in, they're going to play Georgia. It'll be a rematch. It'll be Georgia, Ohio State again.
It would be wild.
Little revenge game for the Buckeyes. Need a lot of help. Those are the
rewards that you reap, though, when you're the number 1 in the country, and then you come off a loss like that. If they were number 2 or number 3, it'd be pretty tough to come back. But so that's why they garnered that favor.
But they were 2. They were 2.
Were they 2?
Yeah, they had
Georgia
dropped.
moved ahead
They
of
had
them.
dropped. Now that's another discussion for another show. But the fact that Ohio State dropped from
Georgia
number
got back
one,
ahead of them. That's right.
Yeah, Georgia went
Georgia,
back up.
Georgia smoked Old Miss,
And
and
then they
that's
went
what
back up.
propelled Georgia to one.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I
all
didn't
right.
want to go back into college, but I just thought it was
No,
worth
I'm
bringing
glad
up.
you brought that up.
Watch
I'm glad
out!
you brought
Watch
that up.
out! Saturday, if Saturday gets sneaky, you never know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay.
Oh man, would I love that? Oh, would I-
You'd be
if
inside.
I mean, because it would create the possibility once again if they could beat, if they get in by some miracle of Christ and beat Georgia, and Michigan beats Washington or Oregon, whoever's going to be the other team,
Which
a
they
national
would.
championship, Ohio State, Michigan would be something that I don't know if I could physically handle that. I don't know if I could
Would
handle
you?
that.
Would you go to the game?
Yes. 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. Yeah, I'd have to. I'd feel obligated. You have to.
Would you bring your cousin cooler?
Would I what?
Would you bring your
The
cousin
Kanga
cooler?
cooler.
The Kanga
It's
cooler?
a Kanga
Sure,
cooler.
sure.
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 All right, let's get this thing back on track. The Colts.
Eagles over Niners. Eagles over.
Okay, I hope you're right. Colts are heading to Tennessee. Indy is a 1-point favorite in Tennessee. Joey D, who do you like there?
Tennessee stinks. Give me the Colts.
Yeah, fair enough. Mikey V?
Tennessee, did they win this week? Tennessee?
I think they did.
I think they did too.
It did,
Right?
Yeah,
They
Yeah.
a decent
they
game.
beat,
Derrick Henry had a big
Beat
week.
Carolina.
yeah. Carolina,
beat-
that's
I
right.
mean,
But they
they
beat them
Carolina.
up pretty good. They beat them up pretty good. I
17-10,
think.
I think.
Oh, was that the final?
Yeah.
They were up 14-0. I guess then it got a little closer. Tennessee at home beats Indianapolis, in my opinion. I'll take the Titans at home. I think that's the difference. Yeah, I think that's the difference. Them being home, I like Tennessee at home.
Joey D
All right.
loves himself some Colts, man. Joey
He
D.
loves the fucking
Well,
Colts.
no,
And
now
he hates
now
the Titans. He hates the
Yeah,
Titans.
that's-
Titans
hates the
stink, man.
I know
The
you say that
Titans
every
are
week.
such
I know you
trash.
say that every week. Yeah. It's so funny, our
hope-
little idiosyncrasies on this show. Like there's always those teams that like for no
Yeah.
reason we're just always off of.
Well, now,
And some
by the
teams
way,
that we're always on.
Jonathan Taylor might be hurt. So just to bring that
He
to your
is. He's getting
attention.
he's getting surgery. He
Yeah.
is.
Oh
He's out
no,
for the-
how bad is it?
He's out for the next couple of weeks, they said.
Oh my god, dude.
I
Are
know,
you
we both
serious?
got him.
Yeah,
I
I'm
know.
dead serious. Yeah.
Oh, that is devastating
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
my
yeah, it
fantasy team.
I
Yeah.
apologize.
I guess Zach Moss is back on the fucking radar now.
Mhm.
This fucking guy.
Yeah,
Mossy
it sure
Moss.
is.
I still like the Colts.
Okay. I actually kind of like Will Levis. I know he's not quite there yet, but I think they're seeing enough out of him that he's definitely the next guy and figure out a way to fucking get rid of Ryan Tannehill. Just fucking pay the rest of it and get him out of there. I'll take the Titans. Fuck it at home. I'll take the Titans. The last time
I think Tennessee.
about 4
I
weeks
think
ago, they
Tennessee may whack them. Yeah.
Well, now that I know Taylor's out, I'm gonna go Titans too.
Whoa! Don't let them bang you again, Joe. Don't let them hurt you again. Don't.
We're all.
not
Let's
betting.
all. We should all party bet the Titans on Sunday.
Oh
Just for
no.
fun. Just for fun.
Just like a little
Yeah.
small
well,
unit.
no, sprinkle. A sprinkle.
Very small.
a quarter of a unit.
They'll bang us. As soon as you think you're back with the Titans, they just bang you again, man.
I have a feeling they've turned the corner.
I
I
don't,
hope your
but
feelings
I'll take
right.
the Titans.
All right, boys. Moving on to New England. Chargers are heading to the Patriots. Chargers have a 6-point favorite. Mikey V?
I mean, you have to take the Chargers. I mean, listen, that line's not bigger because the Chargers are fraudulent. They are, but there's a difference between being fraudulent and being the worst team arguably in the league. And I think New England and Carolina are in the conversation. I think New England is as bad as Carolina right now. I do. Their defense, sure, their defense could play a little bit. They don't have a quarterback. And Zappy is not good.
Is Zappy starting?
So Will Greer just came back off the IR today. So Will Greer actually may get an opportunity, I guess, perhaps. But the quarterback issue at New England is so real right now and palpable and things going on there. There is no way you could take New England. There's just no way. There's no way you could take them. Give me the Chargers minus the 6. I think that spread should be 7.5. I think the Chargers should be a full touchdown favorite. So I think you're actually getting the Chargers at a bit of a discount here. Give me the Chargers
I would
minus
take
6.
the Chargers. I would take the Chargers too. It's sad to see a Bill Belichick led
Is it
team
sad?
be so bad.
Is it sad, Joe?
Yeah, it's not.
I'm
They
shocked how
They
bad
were on the
are.
top of the mountain for fucking like 20 fucking years. Fuck them. Fuck
And
them.
by the way, I hear he's on his way out, that he's
I'm
looking
sure
to go to a
he
new
is.
team now.
I mean, he should just hang it
What
up,
they
man,
need to
because
do
this
is
guy has never won without Tom Brady.
What
And
they
that's
need
the
to do,
stone cold facts.
what they
He's
need to
not
do is
won
they need-
ever without him.
they need to fire the GM but keep the coach. And if you don't know,
But
Bill
he is like the
Belichick-
de facto GM.
That's what I'm
though.
saying is Bill Belichick is both. They need to fire him as the GM because he can't draft for shit. He doesn't know what he's doing
Yeah.
at that end of the
He's
football.
bad, yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
good football coach. I don't like him, but he is a good football coach.
Is
needs
he?
to get back to, I mean, yeah, man, he's won 6.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying, Tick, but the guy has never won without Brady. And I was always I was a big Belichick defender. I said he's the best coach in the history of coaches. But I'm starting to really wonder because he has never won without Brady. Without Brady, he is nothing. He's
There's plenty of
nothing.
coaches out there
Oh,
that only had
give
one
me a
quarterback that won,
break.
though.
He's not. He's never won without him.
You can't say he's nothing without Brady. He helped make Brady who he was.
Yeah, I agree
Did
with
he?
that. They
Did he?
work
They were
off-
it's like peanut butter and jelly, man.
All right.
It took both of them. It
All
took
right.
both of them. The bigger
All right.
problem is that he couldn't draft another good quarterback because he's playing GM and can't draft for shit, man. He keeps missing on every draft pick he takes. That's the bigger issue going on in New England. They need to stop giving that guy so much power over the entire organization and let him just get back to coaching. Or if he doesn't want to do that, tell him to fuck off. That's what.
Yeah,
they
it's
need to
over.
do.
It's over for Bill. It's over
Yeah, I
for
think
Bill.
so.
It's over.
That being said, give me the Chargers. They're abysmal. It's a tough team to bet on. Probably won't do it, but if I had to, I'm taking the Chargers.
Yeah.
Lions heading to New Orleans. Detroit is a 4-point favorite in the Caesars Superdome. Joey D, who do you like there?
I'm gonna wait to hear what the other games are. No, you know what? I'm not gonna wait. I'm gonna make this my game of the week. The Detroit Lions are going to pound the shit out of this garbage ass New Orleans Saints team that doesn't know.
He hates the Saints.
They don't know.
He hates Carr.
If Taysom Hill is their quarterback, Carr is how he's still playing. Put Jameis under center. He's better than both of them. This team is in shambles, and the only reason why I like to watch them is because I got Kamara in my fucking fantasy, and they drop back and do checkdowns 10 times a game for his fantasy points. That's the only reason I watch this team, because they are bad. Not only that, their defense, which was one of the better defenses at the start of the league, has consistently gotten pummeled week after week after week. Detroit just had a horrible game. They just came off a really bad loss at home against a Packers team that, for all intents and purposes, they should have beaten. And now they're getting 4 points. Give me the Detroit Lions a -4 as my pick of the week. Big bounce back game for the Lions. And you know what else? Montgomery's scoring a touchdown.
Okay.
That bum Montgomery, that
Anytime
bum.
touchdown from Montgomery. With the -4 Lions line.
He's a fucking
Tick.
bum. He's a
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
bum.
yeah.
Oh, get
compared-
off of it.
Compared to Jameer, I'm not on it. Mikey V brought it up, by the way. I'm just saying,
What?
compared to Jameer.
What? I didn't mention his name.
You just said that bum. You knew. What you brought
Oh,
that
yeah, but I
conversation
didn't bring him up though. Joe brought him up.
Oh, well.
I'm saying he's going to
You
score a
lit the
touchdown,
fire, man.
and the Lions will win the game by more than 4.
Joe brought the gun, but you fucking loaded it, and you know that.
Ready for this pick? You ready for this pick?
Yeah.
Saints money line.
Oh my God.
Saints money line, man. I think that Detroit is on the verge of a collapse. I think they're in the midst of a mid-season collapse. I really do. I really do. Now, Joe, obviously, if this is your game of the week and you're going to be putting units on it, I'll root for you. It's not a game I'm going to bet, but I'm going to take the Saints money line. I just feel like something's going on in Detroit. Something's up. Something's not right. Something's not right.
The
Maybe
Saints
they fix it.
are
Maybe they
bad,
fix it.
Michael.
No, they are. They sure are. But I'll take them this week. I want to
agree
take them
with
this week. I'm going to get a little frisky.
I agree with Joe as far as let Jameis Winston play. Not only is he probably better than Carr, at least right now, He's the funniest guy that the NFL has. I think there's no one fucking funnier than James.
You see him dancing during the ludicrous, during the ludicrous performance.
Yeah.
Do you remember when he ate the W? Do you remember when he went in there and just started?
I remember.
This is one of the greatest moments of all time.
Yeah, I fucking remember.
Yeah, this guy knows how to rally the troops.
Didn't he steal crab claws too?
He sure did.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah,
that's
did.
correct.
This guy's awesome. Remember his workouts? Remember how crazy his workouts were?
Oh my god, he had like a legit beer belly. It was sick. One of the sicker things I've ever seen. I mean, listen, Jameis is fun. Jameis is a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. And
he is.
Honestly, I mean, I'm not maybe overall in their career, Derek Carr's a better quarterback, but right now, I mean, you got to give someone else a shot. He's abysmal right now. I don't know if it's coaching.
Derek Carr's been abysmal for years.
Yeah,
I said at the beginning of the year, he's way overpaid.
He fucking
because every time you think that you're gonna, like, if you do bet on the Saints, every time you're in a position to like score points, he throws an abysmal interception or just a brain-headed move. He has no mobility. He gets sacked. He's probably one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league. He's so bad, man. He's so bad.
Yeah, he's bad.
I mean,
it's not good.
I know what Mikey's thinking, though. I know where his head's at, and I kind of like the Saints too for the same reason. But I mean, I'm not gonna
take him with the points. Take the points.
All right, I'll take the Saints with the +4. I mean, I agree. I think this Lions team is heading in the wrong direction. I'd like to think that Dan Campbell's the kind of guy that rights the ship, but it just don't look good right now, man. It don't.
Oh, he's gonna write it. He's gonna write it this week, Tick.
Love Lions.
At the hands
I hope he does.
And you know what? I had a preseason future bet on the Saints to win more than 8.5 games. So if I lose this, then I'm not that upset anyways.
There you go. Protect your future.
See, I like the Saints preseason too.
All right. Falcons heading to the Jets. What a miserable game. If you're spending watching this game, then I don't know what you're doing with
the NFL is broken, man.
Yeah, but the Falcons are
too many bad teams.
Yeah, there's a ton of them. The Falcons are heading to New York, and Atlanta is a 3-point favorite. Mikey, who do you like in that game? who you like there, man? Where are you laying?
Atlanta, I guess. I mean, listen, I don't like going against home dogs usually, but Atlanta, I think that Bijan Robinson, imagine that. You actually give this guy who's a superstar the ball, and he's going to do good things for you. Maybe that revelation has finally been ingrained in that boneheaded coach's brain, and they're going to actually continue to give Bijan opportunities. The Falcons, listen, the Falcons have talent. I mean, there's talented players on that offense. It's just a matter of them actually being able to put together a game. So Jets defense, obviously, Jets defense. Everyone talks about it. It doesn't fucking matter because Nate Hackett and this offense it is one of the worst offenses I've ever seen. I've ever seen. They are so bad that it's actually incredible. So that's why I have to go with Atlanta. This Jets defense is eventually these guys are just going to stop giving a shit because it's got to be brutal for them week in and week out, the things they do. And just, I mean, to go from a pick 6 of Tua Tagovailoa right before halftime, then picking off Tua again, as soon as he gets the ball back, DJ Reed picks him off again. And of course the offense comes out and throws a pick 6 on a Hail Mary. Like, that's the type of shit that if I'm playing defense for the Jets, I'm just like, yo, fuck this offense. Like, it's going to divide that team. So give me Atlanta. I'll take Atlanta with the points.
Joey D?
I'll go Jets here. I think Atlanta is bad, man. Again, the Jets are bad too. This is a terrible game. What's the over-under?
The over-under
low 30s.
30. It's got to be low.
3.5.
My
God. Low 30s. Yeah, man.
I have never seen so many. There's so many bad teams this year.
That's like an Iowa Minnesota total.
Bro, I've never seen so many low totals in the NFL under 40.
Every game goes under. Every game goes under.
And it's like the games are like mid-30s. Now it's 33.
What? A lot of that I think too has to do with these officials, man. These officials are throwing flags at a rate at which I've never seen. They throw a flag every other play. Every other play. There's got to be a discussion this offseason about about tightening up the flags. They got to stop, man. You could technically throw a flag. You could find a holding on every single play.
On every
You
play.
could find a holding on every single fucking play. It's got to stop. Either take one referee off the field so you have less eyes, so there's less opportunity to throw the flags, or just tell them like, listen, you just it's ruining game flow. It's fucking terrible. It's
Last
terrible,
night there was a flag every second play on that Bears Vikings game. It seemed like a flag every second play.
Yeah.
There
It was atrocious. It was
All right, Joe,
atrocious.
who you like?
Yeah, but I'm going to take the Jets. I'm going to take the Jets simply because I don't know, man. I don't have trust in Desmond Ridder, and I know that Bijan's good, but the Jets are solid against the run. I think that they make enough mistakes. I think Atlanta makes a few mistakes, and the Jets win. I don't think they're going to score many points, as you can see by the total, but field goals in this game are going to be like touchdowns. I think the Jets have a defense that's good enough in a low-scoring game like this against a pretty mediocre offense that they can get the job done.
There's a movie out there that came out probably 16, maybe 17 years ago, starring Matthew McConaughey, called We Are Marshall. Okay, it's a very good, underrated movie. And it's a sad story about a team that lost their whole organization pretty much in a plane crash. But they went out there and they had to recruit a whole team of freshmen. And they had what do you do when you have a whole team of freshmen going against seniors and juniors? You pull out a little playbook called the Veer. Okay, that's based around a team that doesn't have a good offensive line, right? The Jets need to institute the Veer because every time they line up in shotgun, it's amusing. It's a to think that they can fucking do anything from the shotgun. They need to recreate their offense based on around shitty fucking offensive line play because they don't have these quarterbacks are bad, but they have less than 2 seconds to do anything with the football. They need to reinvent their entire offense. So all that to say, give me the Falcons by $1 billion. I don't believe in them, but this this Jets team won't score more than 3 points. They're off. Give me the Falcons +3. Give me the Falcons +10. Moving on. I'm going to skip a few of these games. There's a bunch of shitty games on the board. We're not going to go through them all. I'll just pick and choose a few of these interesting games. Let's go to the Sunday night game. The Chiefs are taking on the Packers. The Chiefs are a 6.5 point favorite in Green Bay. Joe, who do you like there?
I pray that we don't get blown out on prime time again. I just can't bear it. But I'm going to take the Packers at home. I think Jordan Love is going to play well. I'm going to take the Packers, and I'm even going to sprinkle the money line.
Wow.
I saw a team that beat the Chiefs last week in the Lions. Now, I know you say they're broken. I don't think they're broken. Maybe they are. I saw them struggle mightily against this Packers offense. I think Lambeau is going to be absolutely hopping. And I think on top of that, it's probably going to be cold weather. The Chiefs, statistically, they don't cover big spreads for the last year now. We've talked about it on this show multiple times. And I just think that the Packers have enough. They got enough pizzazz right now, enough mojo right now that I think they can hang tight with these guys. They're probably going to lose. But again, I will take the Packers. What is it, 6.5 tick?
6.5.
I'll take the Packers 6.5, and I will even sprinkle the money line just for a Sunday night miracle potential.
Mikey?
What's the number?
6.5.
6.5. Chiefs are not Chiefs should not be a 6.5 point favorite in this game. I think they should be a 4.5 point favorite, right around there. I'll take Green Bay with the points. I will take Green Bay with the points. Green Bay has looked better. Green Bay's defense, last 4 weeks now. 4 weeks. It was 3, now it's 4 with the Thanksgiving game. That's the difference for Green Bay. Jordan Love certainly is the difference. If he continues to play like that, we know how valuable quarterback play is. But the Green Bay defense has looked better, and that is going to be the difference. I think at home, I think they're going to get after Mahomes a little bit. And I think if they continue to play the way they've been playing, I think that's too many points. I'm not going to say Packers money line. I think that may be stretching it, Joe. I think maybe 3 points, 4 points.
I told you, I think they're gonna lose, but I'm saying I think if they can hang in less than a touchdown.
Oh, I
It's
think they're going to
not
hang. I
preposterous.
think they're going to hang. So,
And
yeah.
by the way, if you want to bet on this game, I would suggest hold until like closer to the game. Everybody's going to be chasing money. The whole world is going to bet the Chiefs.
Yeah.
The line is probably going to go up past a touchdown to where you could probably, if you actually want to bet the Packers, you probably get a better line than 6.5.
Yeah, I'll take the Packers as it stands at getting 6.5 at home.
Yeah, I like the Packers for all the reasons the guy just said. The Chiefs.
What's the number in this game, Tick?
the
total?
42.5.
44.
42 and a half.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know
This could be
what?
an over.
You
This could
think
be an
so,
over.
Joe? I like both these defenses. I think it may go under. I really do. I think it may go under. But anyway, Packers
I mean,
plus
the
6.5.
Chiefs are, whether they're broken or not, they love letting teams stick around, whether they're bad teams, whether they're good teams. They just make it a ball game every time. Packers are rolling 6.5 points. I'll take the Packers as well. All right, let's do one more game. And then if we missed your game of the week game, we can talk about that as well. But let's go to the last interesting game on the fucking board. At least moderately interesting is the Broncos heading to Houston. CJ Stroud playing out of his mind. Broncos on a great 5-game winning streak. Houston is a 3.5 point favorite. Over under is 40.
Oh my God. This
Yeah.
should be my game of the week. Give me the Broncos, baby.
What?
This is
3.5. I'll take the Broncos with the points.
Is that officially your game of the week though?
no, it was game of the week.
No,
Is Detroit.
my game of the week is Detroit, but I'm saying
Okay.
this is a weird line.
It's a very
Weird
line.
line.
It's a very weird line. Houston coming off a crushing loss to Jacksonville. That last minute kick hitting the crossbar. Houston is the story of the year as far as I'm concerned. CJ Stroud, D'Amico Ryan's first year, and what Stroud's been able to do, and Tank Dell and Nico Collins, and everything that they've been able to do has been remarkable. Denver, one of the hottest teams in the league coming in. This is a very, very, very tough game to handicap. But I do think that 3.5 for Houston is just bizarre. And it tells me that you should go with the Texans. If anything, you should go with the Texans. And I know I've said the complete opposite with what I've been saying about Denver, and that Vegas has not quite caught up yet to Denver. But this is a game where I'm going to just throw that out the window and throw all logic out the window and just say that for this to be 3.5, Houston just makes me believe that Houston's going to win the game and win it and cover it. So give me the Texans minus 3.5, but this is a tough one for me. This is you
just going based on the line, saying that something's not right.
Something's not right.
Yeah, I agree.
Something's not
I
right.
agree. But I think if you were just to look at the two teams,
Take Denver.
I think that with Denver's defense, the way they're playing, they're going to get pressure to Stroud. He's probably going to make a couple mistakes. I would take Denver.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Houston
That's
as
fair.
well. I'm going to go with Houston as well. I'm not totally bought into the Denver hype yet, and I really like what's going on with the Texans. Everything that Mikey V said. Mikey, did you do a game of the week? Did I miss that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
took
did.
Eagles money line was my
Okay,
play of the week.
perfect.
You
So
got
we-
Dallas for ticket. You got Eagles for Mikey, and then you got the Lions for me as the 3 games of the week.
That's absolutely right. All right, gentlemen, let's do a quick Who's a Problem segment. Then we'll do 3 or 4 viewer questions. Then we'll split out of here. Joey D, give me your problem this week.
We touched on it a bit already with Mikey, so I'll be short and sweet. The NFL officiating has been as bad as I've seen in a long, long time. The game script suffers because of multiple flags. It's almost imperative how many times you watch a game. There's a touchdown called back from a rogue hold or a fucking bullshit penalty call that's being made. They got to let these guys play more. They got to stop being so detrimental in the sense that they affect the game script more often than not. And I think we've said in the past, good officiating happens when you rarely notice that they're on the field, and that doesn't happen anymore. As far as I'm concerned, the officiating has been horrid. There's at least one bad call a game. There was a call in the what game was it that I was watching the other day where there was a return and there was a face mask that was so blatantly bad that basically the commentators were talking about it for 2-3 minutes. And the whole time after that, we were waiting for a play after that was going to impact the game that they were going to call on the other side to make up. And sure enough, it happened on the tail end of a fucking, what was a touchdown. It was a block in the back. I don't remember who the two teams were. It's going to drive me nuts. It was, I don't remember what the two teams were, but it was so blatantly bad. I was just like, what? You got all these refs out there and they're making calls that they shouldn't be. And then there's a call as blatant as that and it gets missed. It's been bad, man. And as Mikey said before, hopefully they review it moving forward because it doesn't seem to be getting better anytime soon.
Mikey?
I had two problems, a bad one and a good one. Bad one's Ryan Day. Bad one is Ryan Day. Just his lack of aggressiveness and the way he treats the game is just, it's the game. I mean, the game. It's just something needs to change. I don't know, the type of kids he's recruiting, they're fucking dancing around on the field before the game. Like,
that was tough to watch.
Just really fucking disgusting. And then a guy who's a real problem. And I'm going to say it now. And this was a rivalry game, so don't put too much stock in it and say, well, you know, they should have lost and they didn't lose. And the guy made one of the most incredible plays in program history is Jalen Milroe. And I've been saying Alabama has been the strongest. They've been the strongest team of the last month of the season ever since the LSU game. They've been to me the team that passes the eye test for the team I would like to play the least. I think if Alabama somehow upsets Georgia in that SEC title game, they will win the national title behind Jalen Milroe. I think he is just a bad motherfucker. I think this kid is a bad motherfucker. He's dangerous with his legs. He obviously proven that he can make a crazy throw when he needs to. And he's got like that edge to him. Bama with Jalen Milroe, if they upset the Dogs on Saturday, I think they're gonna make a run, and I think they're gonna win the whole fucking thing if they do that. I really
that
do.
Play was so insane. He made such a hard play. They made it look routine. It didn't even look like that. It wasn't even like it was tipped 3 times and they caught in the end zone. Like it was just he stepped back from 40 yards and heaved a perfect throw, and it looked like an easy touchdown. It was shocking.
Once that defensive back turned his head around and the receiver created the back of the end zone, I mean, and then a perfect pass, you
think about some of the things that have happened in that Auburn-Bama game, at Auburn in particular, the kick 6, of course, everybody remembers when Auburn returned the missed field goal for the touchdown. When Cam Newton and Auburn were down 21-0, I think they were down, and they came all the way back and beat Alabama, and now Bama does the 4th and Milroe to them. I mean, just that's what these rivalry games are. This is why college is just, to me, it's just you could argue to me that the NFL is a better packaged product, but to me, on field, the games themselves, there's just no comparison because of games like you saw on Saturday in that Iron Bowl. I mean, it's not even possible what you saw happen. It don't happen in the pros. It's just it's fucking incredible.
All right, my problem this week, I'll keep it short, just so we can get out of here, is a man by the name of David Tepper. If you don't know who that is, he is the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. This organization has been run into the ground and treated like garbage for a long time now. I spent a lot of time in Charleston, South Carolina. That organization has 2 states that love that team. They love the Carolina Panthers. I know a lot of people don't associate it with them, but when you spend some time down there, they love the Panthers. And now you fire Frank Reich. You had a bad coach in Wilkes. You had an abysmal coach in Matt Rule, who I don't know why was hired in the first place at Temple. You let go McCaffrey for fucking pennies to the dollar. And you got a guy now like Bryce Young, who looks like a promising quarterback, stuck in an abysmal organization. Fire the GM, whatever that guy's name is, Fitterer, and fucking get your head out of your ass, make some right moves, and fucking start being a good football team again, man. It's unbelievable that some of these
traded away the whole team, Tick. They got rid of the whole fucking team.
And it's fucking
and they drafted the wrong quarterback. They drafted the wrong guy. And I'm not saying
I
Bryce
don't
Young
think
can't.
It wouldn't have made a difference.
Okay.
That seems
CJ
so
Stroud would be
bad.
miserable in this fucking offense too. I'm not saying CJ Stroud isn't the better quarterback. He very well may be.
But that's
with
all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
These two teams. I mean, CJ Stroud could do nothing with this fucking offense either. It's the way this whole fucking thing is run. CJ Stroud has D'Amico Ryans, all those people you just listed, Nico Hollins, fucking Dameon Pierce.
Tank Dell.
Yeah, but these guys were nobody before the season, Tick.
No, that's not true. Dameon Pierce wasn't. D'Amico Ryans has always been a promising
Dameon Pierce
head coach.
Yeah,
I mean,
Dameon
all I'm
Pierce
saying is Bryce
was
Young's
most
working
of the
with
year.
scraps. He's got no one on this site. He doesn't have an owner that believes in him, doesn't have a GM that believes in him, a coach that's fired that has never gotten a fair shake.
I tell you, I'm gonna pump my guy for 1 second because God knows he gets enough shade thrown at him. Ryan Poles making that deal with the Carolina Panthers as opposed to the Texans or as opposed to any other team that he could have traded that number 1 pick for has come out to pay in extreme dividends. DJ Moore, number 1, Fields to DJ Moore, their connection, their quarterback rating solely when you compare quarterback to receiver, when he throws to DJ Moore is the number 1 quarterback rating in the league when he throws to DJ Moore. So top quarterback to receiver connections, number
they don't
1
throw to him enough.
They don't. Last night 11 catches. They've been getting better at that. The problem is that's a whole nother litany of problems. The actual plays being called, but that and the fact that it is the number 1 overall pick, probably with a bullet now that they're going to get again because of Carolina. So I have to give Poles an immense amount of credit. And I don't know if he had the foresight to think that Carolina was going to be this bad. But my God, did that look like that? Looks like the trade of the it could be the trade of the fucking decade if it works out, and he flips the 1 pick to them and gets another number 1 overall pick.
Well, more for a first round pick, I think is almost worth it anyways. You know, what do they get rid of for more?
I mean, the first overall pick this year, it looks like.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get this thing back. Let's get this thing back on the rails. Mikey somehow turned my problem into a Ryan Poles celebration, but
no. I completely
ended up back at the Bears. But
the Panthers have sold out. The Panthers have sold their soul. They've sold their soul.
My problem is David Tepper. The fish stinks from the head down, and this guy is just putting in zero fucking effort and trying to make a few bucks off a shitty organization with zero effort, and it shows, and it's disgusting to two fucking states, man, that want to love this team and just fucking can't. But moving on, let's move to the viewer questions. We'll answer a few of these, and then we'll split. First question comes from Ryan Samuelson. If you were an NFL wide receiver, who would be the most frustrating quarterback to have as your leader?
As your leader?
Trying to get
just to play with.
Yeah, just to play with.
Probably the Jets quarterback, whoever it would be. I mean, I would say probably Justin Fields is probably one of the more frustrating quarterbacks to play with, only because of the play calling. I just think the play calling's been that bad. I mean, they spent last night in entering the fourth quarter. Justin Fields was averaging 0.8 yards a throw. His attempts were like 0.8 yards. They wouldn't let him throw the ball past 5 yards down the field. So that would be extremely frustrating, I would think. So Jets or Bears quarterbacks traditionally are just fucking terrible. So.
Joey D?
Derek Carr. And maybe right below him, I'd go Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, it's another good one.
Good call.
Another good one. Or whoever is
these guys are just paid way too much money for their skill level, man. It doesn't make sense. Could you imagine being like a top tier? You imagine being Chris Olave and seeing how much money Derek Carr is making, and he can barely throw the fucking football down the field. Like, you know how infuriating that's got to be? Or Alvin Kamara looking to see, basically putting the team on his back every week offensively, and seeing that Derek Carr can't make a fucking routine throw. You know how pissed off you would be being under center looking at Ryan Tannehill? This guy has for years somehow fucking pull the wool over the eyes of these fucking coaches and GMs and continues to get paid, and he's not good.
Yeah.
Infuriating.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, to all of it. Just to be different, I'll just say whoever this week the quarterback of the New York Giants is, and that's just been a problem for many
Tommy
years
DeVito.
now. And if you're 2 weeks, I mean, I'm talking the
Hey,
last 3
he's
years.
the new
Whoever's
kid
been
on the
behind
block, man.
center-
Oh my
whoever's been
God, I'm
behind
so sick.
center is
I'm
the
so
Giants
sick of
fan.
the Tommy DeVito shit, man.
Yeah, so
Oh.
am I.
God,
You're a wide
man.
receiver in
Hey,
that
good
Giants
for him.
organization.
Good
the
for
last few
Tommy.
years.
No,
It's
good for
frustrating.
Tommy.
Good
for Tommy. I'm sick of the national obsession with the fact that the guy's Italian. You would think that people have never met anyone who's Italian before. I mean, it's all
pretty
over.
bad, yeah.
The
And the
NFL,
Sopranos
everybody.
references.
Oh
The
my
Sopranos
God, man!
He's
reference-
Grow
playing
the
into it
fuck
pretty
up,
heavy too,
man.
dude. He's playing into it pretty heavy.
No, yeah,
Even
no.
in
His
the
dad's looking to make a couple bucks. It looks
Yeah,
like.
sure.
I don't know what's going on, but let me tell you, these guys, they act like they've never been to New York or New Jersey before. I mean, this is everybody in New York and New Jersey is the same exact fucking guy. This guy could be 50 other fucking guys off the street. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It drives me nuts.
All right, moving on. We got a question from
He's a
John
problem.
Sanchez. He wants to know what experience made you realize you probably wouldn't be a professional athlete. So probably something that happened in high school. Was there a moment that you had where you're like, oh, I can't fucking play on that level? Joey D.
Trying to think. I think that in gym class, getting picked towards the lowest, towards the low end
There you go.
of the rugby team, that was really a low mood point in grade 10. Yeah, well, no, we did like for PE, we had like we would do sometimes every once in a while we'd go and we'd play sports or different things. I was picked towards the bottom of the barrel, and I actually made a play during the game where there was a big scrum, and I somehow managed to convince the guy who was on the ground, who was one of the better players on the team, that I was on his team, and he gave me the ball, and I just turned and ran and scored a try. And I was running, my pants were too large, like they were like sweatpants, and they were falling down my ass. So I was trying to hold my pants up while running into the fucking end, what do you call it, end zone for a try or some shit like that. But at that moment, I was like, yeah, there's a reason I was picked towards the end of the tier. I was so bad. So sad.
Mikey?
That's all. That's my story.
I would just say just speed. I just knew I wasn't fast enough. I mean, these guys, I mean, I don't think, like, I'm a big guy. I'm 6'7", 270, but I mean, you got guys that are my size that'll run like a 4.7 40, a 4.8 40. Like, I was never ever close to having speed like that. Like, I don't think people understand like how fast these guys are that are as big as they are. Like, it's remarkable. It's actually incredible how fast they are. So speed wise was never going to happen for me ever.
I walked into one of our high school basketball games, and before the basketball games, you're warming up, you're shooting shots. We played a team where this young man was just dunking the shit out of the basketball. I was probably a sophomore. This guy was dunking the fuck out of it in warmups.
Damn.
I was like, all right, I guess time to focus on cameras and editing stuff myself.
Oh, look how that's turned out.
Because this ain't gonna work out with guys like that. All right. Biggest but this year in fantasy. Let's do one more question. This one comes from Dylan Schramm. He wants to know, who is the biggest bust this year in fantasy? And maybe not necessarily a guy that got hurt, but just a guy that has been playing that just has not reached the potential that they should have. Mikey?
I mean, if it's guy who's getting hurt, it's got to be Justin Jefferson.
Or
I mean,
Aaron,
the fact that
or
that
Aaron
guy,
Rodgers.
or Aaron Rod, but Justin Jefferson was with McCaffrey as like the defundo, like 1-2 pick. Like,
Yeah.
most people had him towards the top. He got hurt. So, I mean, before he got hurt, he was playing really well. Guy who's not lived up to expectation. Mikey, you have one?
No, I mean, I think Joe Burrow, and he got hurt. I get it. But even
Yeah,
before he
that's a
got
good
hurt,
one.
he really was not lighting it up the way you thought he'd be lighting up. And de facto, Jamar Chase, de facto, because of Joe Burrow a little bit, I think that's going to end up being a disappointment to a certain degree. Yeah, so I mean, I think those two
I have
guys
one.
are two guys I look at. Who?
Give me good old Trevor Lawrence, who was proceeded to be
Good one.
projected to be one of the top players in the league and has absolutely fallen flat on his face, which is why
Last couple weeks he's
specifically
been
why
well.
I traded for him last week and he went off, and I expect him to continue to play very well for me in my fantasy
yes.
playoff push.
I have him in both leagues, and I stuck it out with him. I didn't deal him in either league, and now we'll see. And by the way, picked up on Mr. Unlimited in the Brilliantly Dumb League.
Wow.
Yeah, that could be a waiver acquisition.
I'll go with
That's
I'll go with a rookie. I'll go with Bijan Robinson. He was
That's a good one.
drafted. He was drafted quite high, and I get it. He had some games where he's scoring 27, but he's got a bunch of fucking games where he's scoring 2, 7,
Yeah,
8.
it's a good one.
And it's just you just want more of a consistent product from a guy that you draft that high, and he's the last thing he's done is deliver consistency. All right, gentlemen. I think that was a pretty good episode. It was another long one. We seem to be addicted to these fucking long ones, but that's what happens during the NFL season. Gentlemen, that was fun. Mikey V, Joey D, as always, I am the big ticket. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to the Instagram and to the YouTube. Fire your questions to Mr. A, and we will answer them at the end of each episode. That's another edition of The Sportsman, and we'll see y'all next week.